Welcome to the 2022 Friendly House online auction. I'm Mike Funk, longtime Friendly House board member and your co-host for tonight's virtual event.
And I'm Jake War, Friendly House board president, a little bit less longtime board member, but happy to be here representing Friendly House. And I want to talk a little bit about the organization. I'm sure many of you are familiar that Friendly House is a community center, social service agency that's been helping the people of Portland for over 90 years, which I think is about how long this pandemic has gone on. And that's pretty incredible. Since its founding in 1930, Friendly House has been committed to addressing the struggles and needs of our most vulnerable neighbors, all while helping create individual friendships and a vibrant, interconnected community.
And Friendly House's services run the gamut, from providing essential support to those who are struggling with houselessness and childcare needs to enhancing the lives of our neighbors with classes, social and recreational opportunities. And we serve everyone, from preschoolers to older adults, and to make sure that everyone is included, all of our programs are offered either free of charge or on a sliding fees scale, all thanks to the generosity of donors like you. So sit back, grab your mouse, grab your phone, grab a glass of wine, and let the bidding commence, knowing that every dollar you spend goes to help those served by the Friendly House.
Friendly House is so grateful for the generous donations of businesses large and small throughout our community. And our sponsorship structure is a little bit unique. We decided to give some opportunities to businesses who might not have otherwise sponsored us, to give them some exposure. So all of those who did sponsor Friendly House at the silver level or above were able to gift a sponsorship to a minority or woman-owned business or a nonprofit of their choice. We thought it provided a great opportunity for smaller businesses, and it really reflects Friendly House's values of building community by giving us all a way to help each other. It's a very long list that we are so grateful for, and Mike, if you're ready, let's go through it.
Let's do it. So a big thank you to Weir Esco, Hoffman Construction, Mesher Supply, Home Street Bank, and 1535 LLC.
Thank you to Peter Michelson and Sydney Perry, John and Mary Calvin, Oak Tree Investors, JDL Development, and Care Oregon.
A huge thank you to Selco Community Credit Union, Home Instead Senior Care, Espousal Strategies, Northwest Natural, and KBC Management.
Moving on, we got Northwest Neighborhood Veterinary Hospital, Singer Properties, Providence Health and Services, Hoyt Street Properties, Utah Allen, and Steve Biles.
A huge Friendly House thank you to Dunn Carney, Harriet Dennison, Jennifer and Tom Saunders, Walsh Construction, and Home First Development.
Thank you to Self Enhancement, Inc., Department of Community, Lift Urban Portland, Rosehaven, and the Pixie Project.
And finally, huge thank you to New Expressive Works, Building Blocks to Success, Holy Beans Coffee, Society 9, BTS Affairs, Quantrell, and Abbey Road Farm.
Told you it was a very long list, and we are so grateful to all of you. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
At its core, Friendly House is about community. We really strive to make our community more inclusive, more equitable through the services that we provide, through the events that we hold. And I feel like every person who has interacted with Friendly House has a unique story. And you're going to hear a few of those stories shortly here from our relatively new executive director, Maya Chamberlain, who new to the executive director role, not new to Friendly House by any means. And she's going to talk about what the last year looked like for Friendly House through all of the difficult challenges that the organization has faced.
And we'll also hear from some of our donors tonight about why Friendly House is so important to them and why they've been so enthusiastic about providing their support over the years. And we'll also be checking in periodically through the night to see how we're doing relative to our big $250,000 fundraising goal.
That's $250,000, Mike.
That is some good math, Jake. I appreciate the help.
Thank you.
And in fact, since we're talking about that goal, why don't we check in and see how we're doing to that right now? Hey, Jake.
What's up, Mike?
I don't know if you've noticed this, but the past couple of years have been a little interesting.
Interesting is definitely one word for it.
Yeah, but during those 2 years, I'm very proud to say as a board member that the Friendly House staff has not stopped one bit passionately serving the neighbors and those in need in our community. In fact, as part of the program tonight, the staff has put together a unique song and presentation performance that they'd like to share with all of you tonight.
I can't wait to hear it. So many of you haven't been to Friendly House for a while. You've been binging your Netflix, you've been working on your flag collection.
Dude.
But this video is going to give you an idea of what things look like these days as we come back to campus. We've been doing a lot of programming still, including virtually and adding programming to our plates, but we're opening back up as the buildings themselves, safely and carefully. And we can't wait to see you.
And so now it's our pleasure to present this original song, written, performed by Friendly House Development and Marketing Manager Ryan Fosmark and Friendly House Volunteer Manager Joey Pearson.
These walls are only so thick. There's really not much between us. Our time can pass so quickly. It's never enough. And like your mother held you, we can be there for each other. I'm not the first one to tell you, we're in it together. Just remember what you came here for. We're in it together. Your heart is at the core of what it's all for. A friend that's always on your side. A friend that's always on your side. A friend that's always on your side. And while you can't stop time, we're all headed in the same direction. I'm yours and you're mine. Life is worth its weight in pure connection. Just remember what you came here for. We're in it together. Your heart is at the core of what it's all for. A friend that's always on your side. Another gift in every soul you find. Every flaw's made perfect in this golden light. A friend that's always on your side. A friend that's always on your side.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us this evening for our third virtual spring auction. I am thrilled to be participating with you. Since starting my new position, the two questions I get asked the most are, what does Friendly House do, and who do we serve? For many nonprofits, this is a relatively easy question to answer. But for a community building organization as dynamic, established, and responsive as Friendly House is, the answer is as unique and varied as the people who walk through our doors. Friendly House serves Linda, a tenacious self-advocate and someone we lean on to give us candid, unvarnished feedback on parties and classes, field trips and services. As she says, "With me, there is no BS. I will always give it to you straight." I asked her recently what she missed the most through the pandemic. She must have been thinking about this herself, because without missing a beat, she began reminiscing about the Harvest Dinner, a 50-year-old tradition that Friendly House does each fall in partnership with Weir Esco and First Presbyterian Church. "An in-person bingo," she said. "I am not a virtual kind of girl with all that technology, but I always win at bingo." Linda loves the Friendly House birthday party, block parties, field trips to the coast and shopping, the Mother's Day tea and Pride festivities. "I'm not even a mom or gay," she says, "but Friendly House knows how to throw a party and make everyone feel welcome." Linda is a self-proclaimed extrovert and social butterfly, but she has another side to her, one she keeps much more private. She allowed me to share her story on the condition that I would change her name. Since suffering a head injury in her mid-20s, Linda is an obsessive-compulsive collector. She struggles with organizing and maintaining her household, which has left her vulnerable to eviction in her subsidized housing. The housekeeping support and organizational support she receives from Friendly House has allowed her to maintain stable housing. "Please let my case manager know that the inspections are coming up," she reminds me, and I can hear the fear in her voice. I assure her not to worry, we will help. Friendly House serves our friends like David, who have fallen on hard times. David reached out to me this past summer just after losing his wife, the mother to his son, 4-year-old Jacob. David and I haven't spent much time together since our graduation from 5th grade at Chapman, but he'd heard that I lost my daughter in 2019 and that I'm raising my grandson, who was also 4 when he lost his mom. He was still trying to find the right words to tell his son about their devastating loss and hoped I could help. We sat masked and socially distanced in my front yard while the boys played just out of earshot. He explained that he was forced from the apartment that he and his wife shared and that he and his son are now living in a shelter. He needed to work, but after losing his own mother and stepfather to COVID-19 just 2 months prior, he had no family left to care for Jacob during the days and no money for childcare. 2 weeks later, sporting a brand new backpack, Jacob arrived for the first day of all-day preschool at Friendly House. David is now working full-time as a local fast food restaurant and saving every dime as he awaits housing at the subsidized apartment complex in Northwest Pearl District. Through Friendly House, both David and Jacob have access to counseling and other supports to get them through this time. Jacob, like many of the children who attend Friendly House preschool, does so at no cost because of our community's generous support of the Logan Nettleton Scholarship Fund. Sometimes Friendly House serves people who have spent their lives advocating for others. We first met Joel in April of 2019. He called Friendly House in response to a SAGE Metro Portland newsletter. SAGE, if you don't know, is our program that provides culturally specific services and supports for gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, and queer people 60 or better. In this particular newsletter, we'd put out a call asking folks to share their memories of the Stonewall uprisings of 1969 in recognition of the 50th anniversary. Joel was a server working at Stonewall Inn on the night of the infamous raid and was participating in the culture-shifting demonstrations that followed. Calling us from his apartment in Portland, he shared vivid memories from 50 years earlier. He was exhausted and winded just from telling the story. Joel lives in chronic pain, but recalls the day at Stonewall when he leapt over the bar to protect a friend from the policeman's club. "My leaping days are numbered, and I can't even take care of myself some days. It hardly seems worth the trouble." Friendly House staff understood immediately that as much as we needed to hear Joel's story, he needed us too. SAGE staff coordinated with advocates in New York who were pulling together the 50th anniversary of Stonewall festivities, and it was Joel's dream to be a part of the celebration. Friendly House supported getting him to New York, and Vaughn Albanese, our former executive director, even took him to get some new fancy duds for the occasion. Over the past 3 years, Joel has been receiving case management and other support through SAGE and our senior program. When I spoke with him a few days ago, he told me about how, after telling his case manager about a recent back injury that had him completely incapacitated, the very next day, like magic, he said, a walker was dropped off at his home and physical and occupational therapy arranged for him. I asked him how he was getting through the really bad days when the pain is overwhelming. Maya, he said, Friendly House is like family, and knowing there are people who care is what makes it all worth it. Extraordinary people sometimes have extraordinary needs. We recently became aware of a parent whose daughter attends our after-school program. She was experiencing violence at home at the hands of her most trusted person. Unable to get help from an overburdened and backlogged domestic violence system, she shared details, still reeling from the shock of the words coming from her mouth. "Do you have someplace safe to be?" I asked. She explains that she's staying with friends, but assumes he knows where they are. Friendly House staff went to work, and by the next day, she and her child were placed in a hotel until they could find safe, permanent housing. Once stable, she sent a text saying, "Thank you for all of your help. Words can't describe how thankful I am to you and Friendly House. I'm at a loss for words." When we were asked, what does Friendly House do and who can we serve? Our elevator speech doesn't capture the Lindas and Joels. It doesn't do justice in explaining the impact on David and Jacob, and can't take into account the thousands of people whose stories are still unfolding. As complex as it is to answer these questions, how we do it is easy. This is what community does best. The Friendly House community is steeped in generosity and reciprocity. We all work together, staff, volunteers, participants, and supporters, all genuinely understanding that every individual has a role to play, something to contribute and to receive, something to teach and to learn, and every person who walks through our doors is invited to participate. This is community.
I don't know about you, but for me, ever since I've been involved with Friendly House, one of the most inspiring things has been those individual stories that we hear, people who are impacted by Friendly House in ways that really can't be measured. It's pretty incredible all that this organization is able to do, all that it's done through its history. And so I know I love hearing those stories, and it just makes me so proud to be a part of this organization.
Yeah, and I've enjoyed my time being on the board and getting to know the individuals served by Friendly House and hearing these stories. When you look online at the Friendly House webpage, you see all of these services we offer, and we talk about them tonight. But I think the most important thing that Friendly House offers or is capable of offering is individualized support. And you hear it in the stories that Maya shared. You see it in the experiences and the look on the individuals' faces in Friendly House. And it's an important contribution that the organization is able to make for individuals all across Portland. So the money we raise tonight supports all of this. In fact, tonight is the single most important fundraiser of the year. Like I said earlier, we have that goal for $250,000. We're going to check in on it in a second. And all of that money goes to help support these different programs, but most importantly, the individualized support that only Friendly House can provide. Jake, that
Mike.
was fantastic.
That was great.
Thank you to all of our sponsors that you saw in the video there. And I would like to say that with that, that wraps up the online portion of our program tonight.
Oh, that's really too bad.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun.
I've had a lot of fun too. And it's been great hearing the stories from Maya and the donors and getting to know Friendly House a little bit while at the same time raising funds to support our services going forward. So with that, we have until 9 o'clock tonight to continue to bid on all of those amazing auction items.
Is that 9 o'clock Pacific?
Sure, why not? 9 o'clock Pacific. You're the boss.
Yeah, oh, that's true. We'll ask Maya for sure, but I think 9 o'clock Pacific makes sense.
All right, I'll just say the president said 9 o'clock Pacific, and I think we'll be good. But I've had a great time with you tonight, Jake, and thank you to everyone online who's helped us raise so much. At 9 o'clock, the auction will close, and that's also your last opportunity to buy raffle tickets and make donations. At 9:30, we'll be sending out all the names of the winners for the auction and raffle and door prizes. And then, just one more thing, just like to thank you guys once again to all of our wonderful, wonderful sponsors and donors.
So I hope you've